Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we had a rough night last night, didn't we? In terms of the primaries. Now the primary season is pretty much over now besides some northeastern states. The only real consequential races are going to be like Rhode Island 2nd and, obviously New Hampshire. That's going to be on September 13th, which is 3 weeks from now or so. But either way, a very, very rough night for the America First, authentic conservative wing of the Republican Party across the country, and just a bad night for the Republican Party overall in terms of some of these special elections. Now, there's a lot of dooming, and no, I don't believe that the midterms are done for. I don't believe the red wave is necessarily over, but I believe there's a little bit of a notice for concern, and Republicans need to get their act together over the next couple of months or so, which I believe they can do. I really do. But something has to change or the wave will not be as big as people think. But a lot of people are reading a little bit too much into these special election results. We're going to get into that in this video. We're also going to cover some of the primaries and analyze the wins for the GOP establishment in them. So we will get into that. But first, I have to tell you guys about our very good friends over at Support the Second Coin. Liberals are very furious that they're giving away this coin for free. Just pay for shipping, because everybody knows that the Second Amendment is under attack by the liberals, by the Democrats, by the left. And for a limited time, you can get a free coin if you just cover shipping. You can get 10 per person maximum. This is a promotion to celebrate the grand opening of their website. So claim your coin, just pay shipping at the description down below. So Florida. We're going to start off with Florida. We're going to get into Oklahoma briefly and then cover New York. Charlie Crist won the Democrat nomination for governor. That's really not a surprise. Nikki Fried completely got fried in an embarrassing fashion. She won 3 counties despite being a statewide elected official. And Crist will likely end up losing to DeSantis by close to 10 points come November. Furthermore, on the Republican side, there was no contested race for governor or senator. Val Demings easily won the Democrat nomination for senator. Matt Gaetz got by easily, which again was not really surprising. But then we get into the result that we didn't really want to see. Anthony Sabatini fell short by 14 points. Corey Mills spent a ton of money grifting his way to the nomination, sending out mailers full of dishonesty, calling Sabatini out for things that were not even true, and Corey Mills is out there taking pictures with Trump that he paid $50,000 for, photoshopping his face on Trump. He claims he's going to be a hardliner on immigration, yet he's endorsed by people like Mayra Flores who vote for amnesty, etc. It's a disaster. Corey Mills is probably going to be another Dan Crenshaw. Here's a guy who used to run a defense contracting firm. And now you expect him to go to the United States Congress and be America First. Yeah, give me a break. Give me a break. But either way, he's going to be the nominee in the 7th. In the 11th, Laura Loomer fell short by 7 percentage points or so, which again was surprisingly close. I don't think a lot of people anticipated it to be this close, especially because Loomer was not from the district, had no social media, and still fell short by like 5,000 to 6,000 votes against an entrenched incumbent. And it shows you can catch these incumbents off guard, but you gotta, be able to finish the job per se. But a good effort nonetheless, but still falling short. You don't really have any moral victories in politics. Well, you kind of do, but I really wouldn't say, a primary loss is one of them that's going to have instant impact. But maybe Webster will be on the primary target list for 2024, and we can get somebody better in there. And then we have the 13th district, where another Trump endorsement won, but it was Anna Paulina Luna, who previously supported DACA. Now she has walked back the statements. She has claimed that she's changed and evolved on the issue. And Kevin Hazlett's not really better than her anyways on really any issues. He's just another establishment character. But watch this individual right here. Watch Luna in Congress, assuming she wins the general, if she's going to be voting the same way that Mayra Flores did regarding immigration. Maybe you put her on the primary target list for 2024 as well. But either way, there were a few other races where you saw neocons and RINOs get by. You saw in the 4th district, Bean defeated Aguilar significantly there. Furthermore, you saw Maria Elvira Salazar, who's voted with the left on many issues, including guns, including immigration, etc. She's at 81% in her primary. She didn't really face any opposition that was well funded or anything like that, but it's sad to see her still maintain that large support base there. And then Jimenez, who's also been a little bit less liberal, but still notably liberal in Congress in a red shifting district, he got 73%, which is lower, but he still got by there because he didn't face a whole lot of opposition. So either way, just no big victory out of Florida for any America First congressional candidates. Furthermore, I wanted to touch base on Oklahoma because you have Markwayne Mullin, the neocon, getting by over T.W. Shannon, 65-35 in this special election primary. And he will likely go on to win the general by 30 points. But Shannon, he ended up getting 35. The polls showed it being closer. We were anticipating this to be much closer than expected originally. But no, the initial polling actually held up, and the more recent primary polls that had Shannon within striking distance were proven completely wrong, as he only won one single county over Markwayne Mullin. Furthermore, for the House primary there, this may be the only good result of the night, as Josh Brecheen, the more further right, more conservative candidate, ended up winning this race by close to 5 percentage points in the runoff there. So you're going to get another, Freedom Caucus member, somebody that's probably going to be better on the issues than most congressmen. So that's good news there. He'll be an upgrade over Markwayne Mullin in terms of the U.S. House, and then Mullin will likely end up being a lateral move from Inhofe in the Senate. So I wanted to also touch base on New York. We'll look at the primaries first before we look at the special elections, because I know there's a lot of people that really care about those, and we'll get to them. But as you can see, Trump endorsed 2 Democrats, ironically, just to do a little bit of trolling in this race, Dan Goldman in the 10th and Carolyn Maloney in the 12th. Now, Dan Goldman actually ended up winning. The current incumbent of a neighboring district, Mondaire Jones, he got 3rd place. He couldn't even get 20% in this new district. Dan Goldman, the Trump-endorsed Dan Goldman, ended up winning over somebody else who, I don't even know how you pronounce that, Uline Niu. And it was a close election. Turnout was low, but Dan Goldman ended up winning there. And then you had Jerry Nadler end up winning big over Carolyn Maloney, who was endorsed by Donald Trump. I wonder how many people saw the fact that Trump endorsed Maloney and decided to vote for Jerry Nadler because they have TDS and couldn't see through the fact that Trump was just doing a little bit of trolling. It's pretty funny, honestly, to see what went down there. But either way, Jerry Nadler ended up winning there, and then Sean Patrick Maloney beat an AOC clone 2-1 in the 17th district. So for the Republican primaries, the RINOs and the neocons got by. Nick Langworthy defeated Carl Palladino by 4 points. Yet another based individual lose there by 4 points there. Andrew Garbarino got by in his primary. It was close, but he still got by 16% after voting for a lot of Biden's spending bills. I believe he voted for the infrastructure bill. He's voted for a lot of liberal legislation ever since the 2020 election ended. And Nicole Maliotakis got by. She's been awful on a lot of issues, has caved, got 78% of the vote in the primary, as you can see there. And furthermore, in the 24th district, Claudia Tenney, Fratto almost won, but he lost by 14. I mean, in a primary, that's not bad, but still, you had the entrenched politician ended up winning there. So altogether, it was an awful night for America First conservatives. Now, I will say it was an awful night for conservatives in general because of these 2 special election results. And what did we see here? This is a district that voted for Trump by 7 back in 2016. It voted for Biden by 2 in 2020. And Pat Ryan defeated Mark Molinaro in this special election by 2 percentage points, which is the same margin that Biden won it by in 2020. Now, it is true that this district did go blue at the House level in 2020 by like 14 points or so, and that was because of the fact that the Republican was underfunded, not really a good candidate. I mean, he underperformed Trump by like 10 to 12 or something like that. Mark Molinaro and Pat Ryan were about equally funded. There's people saying that Pat Ryan was vastly outspent. That's not entirely true. If you look at it, Molinaro actually spent less money, but there were a lot of, outside donations that were specifically attacking Pat Ryan compared to the inverse. So it's pretty much even. I'd say Molinaro was maybe slightly better funded, but either way, this is not a good result for the Republicans. it's in fact a bad result for the Republicans. Now, I can explain why it's not all gloom and doom, why I don't think that the midterms are like over. We're not going to have a red wave because of special elections. But either way, it is not a good result for Republicans, and we can't ignore that, especially as we've seen the poor result out of Nebraska. We've seen the poor result out of Minnesota in the 1st district of both of those states. There, Republicans underperforming. I don't think the Minnesota underperformance was really that bad, but we're seeing a lot of these counties that have suburban district or suburban parts of the district, and then they have rural, more white working class parts of the district that have not been turning out at high levels for these special elections, which is interesting. Now, I will say this. I don't think it's all gloom and doom. I don't believe it is. And I'll explain why, but it's also important to understand that there was the 23rd district, which had turnout at about half the rate. This is a district that Trump won by over 10 points. The Republican only won it by around 7. So that's an underperformance of Trump by around 4 points or so. And in this district, it's about an even performance with 2020, which is a D+4 national environment or so. Now, I will say this. It does show that when there's higher turnout, Republicans tended to do better. We saw this here. Republicans performed in line with Trump in the 19th district. They underperformed him vastly in the 23rd. And white working class voters not turning out in these primaries is probably part of the reason why you saw an underperformance in the special election. And this is true. You see it in Minnesota and you see it in the state of Nebraska. Now, Republican turnout in Florida is still high. You saw Republicans sweep almost the school board in Miami-Dade County on a day where, again, in terms of primaries, there's more registered Dems than Republicans in Miami-Dade County. So the rural base is not turning out, and suburbanites are turning out, but not even at the highest rates. I mean, 129,000 votes for the special election. That's lower than what we saw in New Mexico's 1st last year. And I told people not to do them. And I was right. And I was vindicated because of Virginia, because of New Jersey, what we saw there. But these special elections tend to be favoring Dems even when they don't have the energy factor, at least in terms of these congressional races. This is a common theme from what we've seen through most of them. I mean, we had Texas's 6th district, and the turnout in the primary favored Republicans for the jungle primary, but then Dems crossed over and gave the more establishment choice Jake Ellzey the victory in the 6th district, and not a lot of people saw that coming. You look at Ohio's 15th, which is, a big white working class district. There was not a big overperformance of Donald Trump at all in that special election. From what we saw in the Louisiana ones early on in 2021, one of them had a slight overperformance, potentially because of the sympathy vote. The other one, the Democrats overperformed vastly. You look at Texas's 34th, that was an improvement, but I mean, given the realignment, it wasn't like a massive overperformance, what we saw in that one. Alaska recently, which is also post the Dobbs v. Jackson decision, we saw an improvement for Republicans, you could even say, although ranked choice voting may give the Democrats that seat because of how screwy the system really works up there. And then in the California 22nd, which I believe that district went for Trump by 6 or so in 2020, the Republican won there by like close to 30 points. So either way, you get a mixed bag of results here. And people are going to say it's Dobbs v. Jackson, Dobbs v. Jackson. But you look at polls, abortion is only at 6% of the key issues right here. And of the people in that 6%, the people that say it's a top issue, still not all Democrats, by the way, not all Democrats. And this is also very true. And immigration's another top issue. We don't hear anything about the immigration from politicians. We don't hear them talk about the border crisis, which is honestly the number one issue in this country right now, besides maybe the economy to a lot of people. And it should be, because you have millions of people pouring in. Biden doesn't know how to control the border, doesn't know how to do anything properly. Education's a top issue. Youngkin was able to capitalize off of that when he ran for governor of Virginia. And as a result, Republicans are not doing it. And they need to capitalize off of it in order to win, in order to expand the base, in order to do what is necessary to turn out their voter base. Now, I think that by the midterms, more Republicans are going to turn out. You're going to see a vast overperformance of 2020. I don't know what the wave magnitude is. The polls right now say it's R+1 or so, which is still enough to give Republicans the House and the Senate. And you look at polls back in in 2010. And according to this graph right here, at this point, Republicans did not have a massive lead. They ended up with a near 10-point polling advantage at the end of the day. The polls actually overestimated Republicans. But in 2014, which is when polls started to vastly underestimate Republicans, they didn't have a clear lead until mid to late October in the generic ballot, which they won by 5. And in the Virginia governor's race, as of right now, or even after right now, Glenn Youngkin was down by about a good 7 percentage points, and he ended up winning the election by 2. He ended up polling ahead by the end of it, and this is how politics works. So people are out there, they're pressed about one thing or another, they're pointing fingers, they're dooming. I get it. I'm not sitting back here and saying that everything is fine. Republicans do need to get their act together, and I think that they can. They usually do by the end of the election cycle. But either way, Dems are not energized. They just need to get Republicans to turn out. And the red wave can still very well be on, but you got to actually try. And that is the thing. How many people didn't know that there was an election happening in a lot of these rural counties? Probably a lot of them. A lot of them had no idea what was going on, and this is just simply the case. Same thing goes for the 23rd district, as you can see right here. So either way, while there is a notice for concern here, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. And come November, my gut is telling me that a lot of the doomers are going to end up with some egg on their face, to put it lightly. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.